Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Rent to Wealth podcast. My name's Art. I am a 25-year real estate vet, and I've done a lot of different transactions. I've done everything from wholesaling, rent, fix and flip, rent to own, rental, and everything in between. I've done commercial, some mobile home park stuff. And I've done everything in between. And the point of these videos is to share my experiences, good and bad, my successes and failures. Because if no one's told you they failed, they really aren't telling you the truth. And so I'm sharing my experiences and how I've done things and how I've gotten to where I'm at. And how you can hopefully use some of this information to not avoid all the failures and pains, but to at least circumvent some of them by having someone walk you through what their process has been and what my process has been. And hopefully it helps you. These videos are not meant to sell you anything directly, just meant to share information. And hopefully you benefit from it in some way and it helps you move forward in your career. So today's video, which is my first video, I'm going to talk, I'm a very big believer in a holistic view of investment. And what I mean by that is not just looking at what you should invest in and how much money you're trying to make and everything else, but to really get down to why you're doing the investing. Because if you can get the core values and the why of why you're doing something, then a lot of times you can reverse engineer it to make sure you're doing the best thing. Our most valuable resource is time. And so what you spend your time doing and investing in and everything else makes a big difference. You can spend 10 years trying to get into the wrong type of investment only to find out 2 years after that this investment much better fits your lifestyle and what you want to accomplish. And so I try to help, I'm trying to help you avoid all of that and wasting time, to figure out what it is exactly that you want to do. So this first video is going to be exactly that. What is it that you want? Before we look at real estate investing, before we look at getting into everything, I want you to really think about what you want to get out of real estate investing. If you've chosen real estate investing as the way you're going to build wealth, and I know you may think at first everybody's thought is, well, I want to make money. I want to make money. And I get that, but there are so many ways to make money in real estate. You really need to narrow it down. And before you even get to that, what do you want? Is your goal to get a lump sum of cash? Is your goal to get a cash flow on something that sustains your lifestyle so that you can kind of have a cash flow and know that money is coming in every month? A lot of investors I hear online talk about passive income. And I want to kind of tell you, in my experience, what is real and what's not real. And passive income to me is not exactly real. I have yet to meet an investment that was truly passive income, except maybe stocks. And even with stocks, you still have to monitor them. But in my eyes, a truly passive investment is something that I can set up one time. I can go to the Caribbean and spend time with my wife and sit on the beach and sip rum coladas. And I don't have to think about it. And every month when I check my account, the money from that investment will be in my account. No questions asked. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have anybody managing it. I just basically get a check in my account and no one bothers me. That type of investment is possible, I believe, but it is a higher level investment, meaning that you did something like you sold off a company and that company is now paying you a dividend or paying you a significant cash flow every month. But even with that, you still have to kind of monitor what's going on at times. I believe much more that there are less management intensive investments, things that still require your time, but they don't require all of your time or a lot of your time. And I think that's what you can get at a lower level in real estate. You can get lower stress level or lower level management systems in place. So having said that, the first question that I pose to you, if you're going on this journey, starting from zero, because the goal of this was to start at zero and then grow into something that can be significant, that replaces your cash flow, replaces your income. If you're starting from zero, the first step that I did and that I would do, or having to do it all over again, is to figure out your game plan. When people talk about real estate, they always talk about, oh, there's so much money in real estate. You can make $100,000, $30,000 a month, whatever you want to make. But the catch with that is that there are so many nuances of how to get into real estate. If you're going to wholesale, if you're going to rehab, if you're going to rent property, and each one of those nuances has its own benefits and its own set of problems. So I'm going to share my game plan that I did in life, and then ultimately the game plan that I would suggest, having done the stuff that I've done. In my career early on, I started off, I went to a bunch of real estate seminars, and this was before podcast and everything else. And I learned from a lot of different people. Shout out to Ron LeGrand, because he was one of my first mentors. And in that time, one of the things that I was given as a student was don't start off with rental property. And I thought that was so weird. I said, I want to get cash flow. And everybody thinks they're going to change the world. I know I thought I was going to change the world. And they said, don't start off with rental property because you need to build up some cash first. And of course, that makes perfect sense now. But at the time, I didn't know and I didn't listen. So I said I wanted to start off with rental property and I was going to rent it out. And I did that for a while. I accumulated about 25 rental properties over a 2-year period. And I did make cash flow, but I found myself struggling to make sure I was paying all my bills every month. And that's when I realized when you account for the maintenance and if you don't have a proper management system in place with rental, it can be very stressful, very cash intensive at different times because furnaces go out at the worst possible time for you. There are catastrophes. People move out and get evicted when you really needed their money. And so having to do it all over again, would I start with rental? Definitely not. I didn't like some of the other techniques I learned about real estate because I thought they seemed harder to me, or they seemed like something it wasn't more traditional. Rental property is very traditional. But I wanted something that seemed easy. Instead of doing the stuff that they told me, which was easy, but in my mind, it wasn't that easy. If I had it to do all over again, and to be clear, I would start off wholesaling properties. Wholesaling properties is the process of finding, or let me tell you what it is for me. Wholesaling properties is when you find a property that is undervalued in its current condition. So in other words, I find a house and it's worth $100,000 as it stands now. Fixed up, it's worth $200,000, let's say. But that takes $30,000, $40,000 worth of fix up, and it's worth $200,000. But in its current market position, it's worth $100,000. And then I'm able to negotiate with that seller to buy that property for, let's say, $60,000. And then I'm going to put it on the market or to a rehabber or someone that wants to fix it up for a profit. When I started off, they told me if you could get $5,000 from a wholesale deal, that was considered a good deal. And that's okay. But in this market and today, and even in my career, when I did start wholesaling, I tried to average for a $20,000 profit on a wholesale deal. Now, the reason why wholesale works initially is because you don't need a lot of cash. You just need to market to find properties or find sellers that are motivated. And then you also can put it under contract and essentially sell the contract. Now, there are a lot more tools and resources that allow you to not have to do it that way. But if I'm starting off, I don't know anything, I would start off wholesaling properties. So I'm going to do a follow-up video to this on what exactly is wholesaling. But I want to make sure before we end this video that I do get off my plan, which is my actual game plan of how to build a real estate business. So I would start off, if I'm starting from zero, I would start off wholesaling because I have limited funds or very little funds and I have very little knowledge and I can earn while I learn. And it's going to bring me lump sums of cash that allow me to get comfortable. After wholesaling, once I get comfortable with that, I would probably move to wholetailing or rental property because I'd have some cash behind me and now I can buy a property and I can keep it as a rental and start getting the cash flow. I wouldn't even wholesale. I wouldn't even rent everything. I would buy some stuff and wholesale it, and then I would buy some stuff and rent it out so I can start to build that residual cash flow and put the systems in place, at least on a small scale. And I'm not dependent on that money because of the fact that it is not my only income, my only way to make money. So I would start off wholesaling. Then I would go to wholesaling with rental properties, selling, keeping some of them as rental. And eventually I would exit those rental properties and I would take the cash from the wholesaling and the rental and move into commercial. Commercial is going to get you where you want to go much faster and much easier. If you're an average person and let's say you want $100,000 a year lifestyle, you can easily do that with one commercial property versus, 15 single family rentals or single family, or how many wholesales you would have to do. You might have to do 6 to 8 wholesales to get to 100,000 that year, and you're working for each one of those wholesales. Compared to commercial, I can get the commercial. It has a cash flow and it manages the cash. The commercial can afford a property manager and things like that. That is getting closer to the what do they call it? The passive investment in my eyes. So I would look at wholesaling initially, do that for a little bit of time, build that up to wholesaling and or rental, and then ultimately to commercial. So that was just a quick summary of what I would suggest and how I'm going to try to keep these videos around 10 to 15 minutes. So I wanted to give you my game plan on why it makes sense for me. And like I said, having gone through it all, I'm not by any means saying this is the only way to do it. But if I were giving someone advice, if I was sitting down talking to my brother or my cousin or someone and saying, hey, you want to get started, this is the way I would suggest it, then this is what I would start with. Let me know in the comments if there's something specific you'd like me to talk about in another video, or if there's questions you have, I'll be happy to answer them. Again, my goal is to help you with this and share some information. So until next time, I wish you the best and hope everything works out. And if you have questions, I'm here for you. Talk to you soon. Have a great one.